Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, December 6th, 2016, and it's time to go to work on music. So, today is a drum day, and we're also going to be working on polishing out the live set. That's pretty much the goal for the next 10 days. Just run the set, run the set, run the set, run the set, over and over and over again until it becomes totally automatic. And then we're also going to do a little bit of online learning. So, overall, in a pretty good spot today, working on the time stuff. I'm improving with that. I'm getting an earlier start today, and I'm almost to the place I want to be, but baby steps. So here we go. Cool, just continuing with this supplemental resources from this class and more on this writing video. It's really interesting actually. This guy's talking about how a lot of people who speak English as a second language, or one person in particular who we met recently, was always trying to use really big words and show how impressive and educated he was. And this guy was like, "Stop trying to be impressive and just be clear." And when you're clear, that's when you're going to be impressive. And he makes the point really, really well. And it just got me thinking about music and like how sometimes uh, I or we will try to write stuff that's just like, oh, people are gonna think this is so awesome, and then they're gonna know that I'm like so good at guitar, or so good at drums, or something like that. And sometimes it works, but other times it sort of just either passes over the casual listener's head, they don't get it, or it sort of just like makes you tense, and you're sort of out of the moment because you're like thinking about like how you're gonna make this lick sound really cool. And simplicity is something I've really been trying to exercise as much as possible recently. And in a way, it can get harder the more time and energy you invest because the ego, of course, wants to be recognized for that. And, maybe that's really important. I'm not a professional psychologist, but I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to be recognized to a degree. But it's funny how maybe unexpectedly or ironically, the way to get noticed and the way to really have people be like, wow, you're so good, is to just do something really simple and do it really well. Just really focus on emotion and really creating a great experience in the listener of the music. Working on good sounds, working on good presentation, um, working on tightening your writing and conveying the message of the song as clearly and concisely as possible. It's so easy to overlook those essentials and those basics, but at the end of the day, I think when I really think about it, what matters more than that? There's so many songs that I love that are so simple. I mean, comically simple, um, structurally, harmonically, even lyrically, and yet they're great. They're just great. They capture the moment perfectly. And then there's some songs that are so complex and so technically brilliant when that's so, to the degree that that's all I can think about when I'm listening to it. All I can think about is, wow, this is technically brilliant. And that's a cool experience, but I think at the end of the day, the emotional experience really wins out in the long run. So, interested what you guys think about that if you have any thoughts. Otherwise, I'm going to get back to work here. Okay, reading more of the Michael Beinhorn blog, and this piece is about a really interesting Avicii song where he talks about how it has all the surface elements of great music, and it's a very calculated pop song, and it's undeniably successful with people. But at the same time, he talks about how there are certain elements in music that add what he calls subtext, which are things like deviation from the norm, um, engaging, new ideas, fresh orchestration ideas, or fresh arrangement ideas, or just weird arrangement ideas, or just weird material. I don't know if that's how he would say it, but this is how I'm interpreting it. And he talks about how that's the stuff that really gives depth, dimension, and meaning to the surface aspects. So surface aspects like, um, song structure, like a really predictable song structure, or a really predictable chord change, or something like that. Something very familiar, something that everyone likes, everyone can digest, and it doesn't offend anyone, basically. And he says, I haven't completely finished the article, I'm only halfway through, but this point really hit me hard, which is, without that stuff, it's like being in a relationship with someone who's really, really good looking, but you have no emotional attachment to the person. It's like, yeah, you could have a lot of fun with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like yeah, I'm not gonna go out and say that people shouldn't do that type of thing or have those types of relationships. That's silly. But at the end of the day, like, is that the person you want to marry? Maybe. Maybe that's what you're about. Maybe what you're about is just looks and appearance, and you don't care about emotional attachment or depth or anything like that. But when we're talking about enduring art or relationships that have real substance, I think the argument he's making is that's the stuff that really lasts. I think what he would say is like it's kind of difficult to make that musical relationship last just on looks. It can certainly be a spark, it can be attractive, and you might even want to come back for more, but it's not something that you're gonna wish you owned it or wish you put a ring on the finger of that song. So it just got me thinking about how, really we want both. You don't just want substance without any polish. I mean, that probably wins in the game of extremes, but ideally you have a nice balance between, the sort of physical attractive components of the music, like reasonably good mixing, reasonably good production, reasonably thought out song structure, instrumentation, that type of stuff. Um, but at the same time, it's not just that. You're not just buying packaging. There's something in the packaging that's really awesome, and that awesome core is enhanced by the packaging, and the packaging obviously is enhanced by having something awesome. It's like eating a really nice meal. The presentation is important. So it's just getting me thinking about my own work and my own balance of substance and palatability, and something I'm really trying to strike as best as possible these days. Being honest, but being honest in a way that isn't just like blah, me puking out a bunch of emotion on the song. It's like, well, let's really examine this. Let's really poke this. Let's really think about what is the best way to present this truth. Because there's ways you could present the truth that are very offensive, and there's a time and place for that. But there's also ways of presenting those ideas that just is artful. I think that's what we're looking for. Whether it's offensive, good, bad, ugly, that doesn't matter. I don't know if those labels really have a good place in the mind of an artist, but I think, thinking about craft and combining that with substance and honesty, I think that's where you get the good stuff. I'm going to keep thinking about that. Good drum session, good break. Let's get to work on the set. All right, really good session. Got through about three of the songs from the set. It had been a while since I played the first two, but coming together nicely. And yeah, I'm ready to step things up in the next few days and really tighten things up. But I just want to make sure I build a good foundation, staying relaxed, staying in time, not stressing myself out, not programming too much stress into the system. I'd like to be able to enjoy the performance if I can. But things are sounding good, and yeah, I got through three of the four tracks. started previewing the fourth one, but I'm sort of getting close to the time deadline for the day, so I'm probably going to close things off, just pick it up tomorrow. Same drill, just keep running it, smoothing out all the kinks, getting super comfortable, and just making it automatic basically, so that the real show itself is just another day at the office, you know what I mean? So I hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, having a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Till then.